Aspen Waite Radio.
Welcome to Aspen Waite Daily. I'm Hope Ellen with you till 2 p.m. today, and joining me now is an award-winning business and organisational development expert, a top 500 international PR and serial entrepreneur. Her name is Sara Tye. Sara, you're joining me today to speak more about your business and how it felt to be crowned the winner of the Lifetime Achievement of the Year award. What did it mean to you to win that?
You always want to receive a lifetime achievement or, an OBE or that type of thing, because those types of awards, generally are confirmation that you've made a huge amount of effort through your life. They're difficult to actually achieve. They're not easy awards. And I'm not saying awards are easy at all, because obviously, winning Entrepreneur of the Year or whatever is just as hard. But lifetime achievement means you need to keep on going for a lifetime. And so and also, it's the amount of people that have helped me through that time, which is, we're talking hundreds of people and friends. So, my family and my children and everything. So it's sort of like an award for all of us, really, not just for me.
How did you celebrate, Sara?
I didn't celebrate. In fact, I do so much, and because I train triathlon, and I've got 2 daughters and I run my businesses. I actually didn't do anything, and on the night of the awards I actually went to bed early. I didn't go to the awards because I was so tired. But I think that signifies a lifetime achievement.
Absolutely. You're a very busy lady, but one thing that you are determined to do is help other business owners, particularly when it comes to PR, which you are an expert in. Tell us about the Master Your Own PR program.
So I've always coached people as well as run my agency. And because generally, sometimes people come for one problem and they've actually got other things that they don't understand. And when COVID started in the January, February, I thought we're going to head for quite a bad time. So we're already online as a business because we were already virtual. I've got some of the systems set up to actually already coach people online. Because most people struggle with marketing and sales. In fact, out of all the people that I've come across who've watched my free webinar, etc., the majority of them have a real problem with sales and marketing. And I don't think, the majority of businesses really know how much you have to do to actually create momentum. So I set up a channel online, and I produced about 80 videos, might be even more now, of every single thing you need to do, from running a campaign, how to run one, right through to which type of awards you should be applying for. And I was inundated.
So you mentioned there those free meetings. They were free strategy consultancy meetings on Zoom. What inspired you, Sara, to do that? And were these consultancy meetings a success?
Well, first off, if people are locked down, there's some sort of emotion going on. And if you're running a business and you suddenly got to go online, market online, sell online. So I was already set up because we were virtual. So people came to me from all over the world, Antigua, Switzerland, and all the same situation in terms of, I'm totally overwhelmed, I'm really panicking, I don't know what to do. And the reason I did an hour free consultancy, and I did 200 of those in the end, and then some of them came on to be coached by me, was because you can't really get to the bottom of what's going on in like a quick half an hour meeting. And the people I coach who actually do a lot of their sort of sales and relationships through meetings, I say to them, there's no point just having a 30-minute phone call with somebody, Zoom call, because you won't get to the bottom of it, because generally people have to relax. They then want to talk about what's really, some of the issues weren't even business issues, they were to do with self-development issues. And it was fantastic. And I had a lot of fantastic relationships with a lot of people I'd never met before from all over the country and all over the world. And that was a real insight into what was going on across the UK.
Well, the thing is, with COVID, it linked everyone in the world together, didn't it? Because we were all going through the same thing together. That doesn't often happen. Did you receive lots of positive feedback from these sessions? Would you do them again?
Oh my gosh, no, I'm doing them all the time. So I basically have had such brilliant feedback. Any piece of feedback that I get that was negative, maybe it was to do with I didn't really expect that type of call or whatever it was. All of it goes back into refining what I do. So since I don't know why this is, but since I was very young, I've never really worried about criticism of my work. And I just take it as we used to call it red inking in the old days, because they used to red ink what they call a press release with red ink all over it, or writing. And I think, that's one of the things that people need to do, is they have to keep working on their marketing, because it can change, the environment can change, and you have to keep changing what you do. And if that means that something isn't working and someone says to you it's not working, you just take it on board and change it. So they help me really define my journey as well.
What a positive attitude to have, and one that you really need to go forward and be successful. Tell us a little bit about Redhead PR and the journey there.
So that was I wasn't naive, but I decided that I was going to launch my agency in the centre of London when I launched my agency. So I didn't start my agency somewhere else and then move it to London and develop it. I literally day one launched right in the centre of town in Mayfair, and I was competing against the biggest agencies in the world, and I never for one moment thought that was an issue. And I won some of the biggest clients globally away from some of these global agencies. We're very results orientated, so it's not about what you necessarily do, it's about what outcomes you get for the client, so they get a good return on investment. And yeah, I grew the agency. We ended up in a big office in Covent Garden in Long Acre, and then 2008 came, and it all went downhill very rapidly, which is hence, and obviously all the other businesses in London too, and the city. And because of that, I knew what was going to happen with the pandemic. So I'd already had one major global meltdown under my belt, to be able to help others understand that it's never a long-term thing, that you can get through this, but you do have to change what you're doing.
Throughout this conversation, Sarah, I can tell why you've got this award. One, you've got such a positive attitude, and when things maybe don't go the way that you planned for, you are still positive, and you're also very adaptable as well. Are those some of the kind of aspects or key tips that you would give to someone in business to be successful? If you had to give them 3 things.
The one thing I do talk about a lot with people I coach is dealing with overwhelm. And you do get overwhelmed regularly when you run your own business, because if you're doing well, you generally get peaks, which mean you've got to deal with them. So that causes overwhelm. So people think they might get overwhelmed because they've got a lot to do and nothing's really happening, but actually you get more overwhelmed when you're really successful and you actually don't know, you can't see the wood for the trees, and you're running around because you're doing a 16, 18-hour day. But I do talk to people about that being normal, and you've really got to work out what your purpose is to be able to develop that, to get through that overwhelm, because you want to make sure that you're doing the right thing. So some people might say, I want to be a millionaire, but they might not realize what it takes to be a millionaire. And that might actually cause them more stress than actually the comfort and satisfaction of being a millionaire afterwards. The second thing is to do with the work, to do with marketing. People don't realize how much they have to do. And if they're doing it in a creative way, which is not a paid for way, so they might be using Facebook creatively and, Instagram. This is what I coach people on. They basically don't know how much they have to do, how much engagement, how much outreach, how much conversation they've got to create. And so when they say, my gosh, I'm overwhelmed with my social media, I'm like, well, actually, you're not getting as far as you should be. We really should be doing more. So being organised is crucial. And then lastly, which I was never very good at, because I'm about moving forward. In fact, they used to call me future because I never really reflected. And you just said it with the award, is celebrating your wins, because I've had so many fantastic wins, and I've just literally, there's been so many, and this isn't arrogance, it's just I've just moved on to the next thing, because it was about growth and success. And there are things I probably should have sat down and said, oh my gosh, I can't believe we've just done that. So we had one example when we had the memorial, the commemoration for Diana at Wembley with Prince William and, people like Jamie Oliver for Centrepoint and the other charities. It was a massive concert, and I was to look after every single interview globally for everything to do with this concert outside of Wembley. And we did it all. And of course, you just get on the tube and you go home afterwards. And you don't actually realise the colossal piece of activity and global outreach that you've just achieved. So We probably did have a little, maybe a glass of wine afterwards and then get on the tube. But actually, we didn't actually go and say, yeah, look what a fantastic job we've done.
So give some time to pat yourself on the back. And
Definitely.
obviously you mentioned there being overwhelmed and having a purpose. Do you think training in triathlon has helped you with that personally? Is that why you suggest that?
Relentless resilience, are some of the words I use all the time. And yes, it has been relentless, but it is when you train triathlon. So I do the half Ironman distance, which means I train probably about 9 and at peak 16 hours a week, training on top of my work and the girls, etc. And you sometimes think, oh gosh, I just cannot go out and do a 5-mile run today, but you do. And actually, it just demonstrates what you are capable of. And I obviously am connected to a lot of people that have done some absolutely amazing things. A swimmer, he swam down the Avon River from beginning to end like 2 days ago. And it's like 47 miles, I think. And he did it like in 25 hours or something. And I'm just like, oh my God, because there must have been times when he was doing it at night when he was thinking, I really want to get out and have a drink or whatever. And you don't, you just carry on. So I do think that people sometimes need to understand that hardening up to pain and some of the things that cost you in your journey is okay. It's not all about feeling fantastic all the time.
Well, Sarah, it's obvious here that you've got lots of knowledge and you are incredibly inspirational. If people are listening and they want to find out more about your coaching, where can they do that?
Well, I have a website, which is Mastering Your Own PR.
Thank you so much for your time today. I'm sure there's so many more awards coming your way in the future. Thank you again.
Thank you so much. It's been fantastic. Have a great day.
Aspen Waite Radio.